brand new committed presenter. I'm excited to be able to introduce our team webinar room. I want you to know that this is an effective and efficient tool that is fully loaded. It's going to allow you to create the relationships with your members so that they turn into lifelong members. And you're going to want that and need that in order to build a strong Shaklee business. So here's your web room tour for committed presenters. You're going to sign into the web room with your username and password. And when you come in, on the far right, you're going to see all these boxes, which are really called layouts. The top few are the most used: the Prove It Challenge, the Lifestyle, the Leadership. And beyond that, they're going to be alphabetized. This webinar room happens to be our specialty webinar room, and I can tell because in the top it says Specialty A, and then it has Lobby, and you can see we're in the lobby. So you want to scroll down very carefully to avoid deleting the layouts. So you want to keep your cursor far away from the upper right corner of each layout. Instead, keep it at the bottom left. Tonight we're going to do the Yeast on the Run. And so I'm going to click that layout. I'm going to keep it away from the X. I'm going to click it and open it up. And when I get in there, I'm going to do a few things just to make sure that I have the room set up. I'm going to start my webcam like this and start sharing. And I always like to pause it so that, with a nice smile so people can see, hey, they're welcomed in. So there you go. Next, we're going to go ahead and talk about this chat box down here. And what you're going to do is you're going to add the telephone number to the chat box. You're going to copy and paste that information. And I know tonight they're going to be using the second telephone number. So I'm pasting it in. Ta-da! There it is. Okay, you can also type to everyone a note, or if you want to type to, when other presenters show up, you can actually type and click the tab that allows other presenter messages so that they only go to that group. Or you can type to an individual. Right now I don't have those tabs up there because you can see here I'm the only one in the webinar room. You have to have other people in there in order for those other tabs to show. And then finally you can click this hamburger menu and you can change different things like the text size. You can change the text color, the chat color. I always like to do a bright pink color. That way, as I'm presenting, I can easily pick out where the last thing was that I typed, where I read last. So that's the chat box for you. Next, you're going to notice this layout happens to have a poll. Some of our specialty webinars do. So I want to model filling this poll out. All right, and then I'm going to want to view the votes. So I'm going to go ahead and just start clicking a few of these things here. So when the guests come in, they're going to know to fill that out. And then you can use this button here to view who filled out what symptoms. You can go back to the poll, hamburger menu. You can actually view the votes there, or you can clear the answers. You don't want to hide the poll because that's going to just delete the whole poll. So don't do that one. Instead, just go clear all answers at the end of the webinar, to clear that out. Okay, what are these boxes here? These things are called pods. And you're going to see the title at the top, and some of our series, some of our webinars, our specialty webinars, have more than one in the series. This one does. It has part 1, Yeast part 1, and Yeast part 2. And so at the bottom of the pod, you're going to see these arrows, which will move the slides. Okay, you're going to be able to open up, kind of like stretch out this section, and I know they're doing section number 1 tonight, so I'm going to stretch that out. And so now it's side by side. When the guests come in, they can fill out the poll, and then after you have everybody in there, you can actually stretch out the poll so it fills up more of the screen, so it's easier for the guests to see it. Down at the bottom, next to the arrows, you can see that there's this little sidebar icon. And that's going to allow you to move. If you're on the outline tab, you can move among different slides easily. Also, the notes tab, which will help so much to keep you getting a lot of good ideas. It'll help you stay in the time limit. Also, you don't want to sound like you're reading them because that would be really boring for your guests, right? So, just like practice out loud a few times before you actually present. So, now let's talk about this section. This is called the attendee section. And in that, you can actually edit your info because when you sign in, it's going to say team leader. It won't say your name. So go ahead and click the hamburger menu and click edit my info, and it's going to let you change that name. Also, if you click on a name, you can upgrade the person to a presenter or downgrade them to a participant. And so like if you have a distributor coming in who's going to present, you want to upgrade them so that they can click their arrows and move the slides forward when they're presenting. So there's also a couple more things. One of them is the audio. In the top black section up here, you're going to see audio, and you can give microphone rights for participants. You can enable single speaker mode. I always give the microphone rights. And then you can also mute your speakers. You can also click and connect your audio right here. You can select your microphone. So that's really helpful. And then this one here is sometimes your clients are going to like raise their hand, they're gonna step away, that kind of stuff. And they'll be able to access that too. So now, say you did the whole presentation and you wanna close the webinar room. The first thing that I'm gonna ask you to do is to be so respectful of everybody else who's using the room. And one way to show that respect is to rearrange the webinar room, put it back into a nice, orderly, easily readable format, so that when the next person who comes in, they don't have to search for these presentations. They can just see there's part one, there's part two. Look, the poll's been cleared out. See that? We did go ahead and clear all the answers. So that looks really good. And then it'd be nice if down in the chat box, you go ahead and clear the chat. So it's nice, and the next person who comes in can just jump in here and start. So there's two more things. You're going to scroll back up to the top lobby so that if a guest clicks the link beforehand just to check out our web room, they're going to see this really nice visual, and they're going to see a really nice schedule. And then the final thing you're going to do is go up to the top and click meeting and then end meeting. And that's going to allow us to be able to protect all these presentations, and it's going to close it right down. So have a great time growing your Shaklee business, working with a team. You don't have to work alone. You can have other people present with you, and you don't even have to drive all over the place. You can just meet with people and grow that business. Have a great time.